Early in 2022 last year, I uploaded a video talking about why I considered 1933's King Kong the impetus for so much film escapism as we know it today. That film in 1933 was the eighth wonder of the world. It was more impressive than if they had actually found a giant gorilla. Simply, well, not simply at all rather, being able to compose those illusions, a film which everyone assumed could not be made. Although there was a precedent, the magic of King Kong is entirely dependent on the initial successes, accomplishments, and innovations associated with 1925's The Lost World, a feature film adaptation, silent of course, of Arthur Conan Doyle's iconic adventure novel, still one of the great escapist reads of all time. I remember feeling entrapped and enchanted by that novel, borrowed from my primary school's library, as though it had been published in the last 2 years before I had ever read it. Professor Challenger, Malone, John Roxton, Summerlee, these fascinating, likeable, Challenger is it's in his name. He lifts his wife onto a kind of marble pillar in their foyer in order to mock her. That's one of the opening scenes in the book. Malone is mortified. I haven't even read it since then. Since what have I been, 10, 11? I remember those moments fairly vividly. So classic literature, many seem to think, and this film is more seminal than it is often considered, I think. I would claim that this film deserves a similar adulation to King Kong. The shot of the Apatosaurus, Brontosaurus at this time, peeking its head out of the water and swimming away, that is movie magic right there. Brings a tear to my eye. Special effects artist Willis H. O'Brien is the true artist behind this film. He was seemingly following nobody when realizing composing the astonishing stop-motion animation witnessed in The Lost World. This is still a paragon of excellence in basic dinosaur genre films. It has the most likeable cast, borrowing Doyle's characters, and the addition of Bessie Love's Paula White is very welcome also, utilising the vivid, satiating effects of O'Brien, much as they are in King Kong, and the Harryhausen descendants of these creatures here. Jurassic Park was the biggest film ever for a reason. The illusion of dinosaurs, from Gertie to O'Brien, Harryhausen to Spielberg series, it's such an intuitive and obvious means of an impressive, it's something that seemingly cannot be done. We all know of the dinosaurs as extinct. It's a term that's synonymous with, as kind of a pejorative of being old and done. And to actually resurrect something like that no one has ever seen and no human being ever saw, that's a feat in and of itself. Realizing a dinosaur or a dragon, things like that. But I think especially the dinosaur, given that there are parameters, there are limitations of which the dinosaur must act within. You can make a dragon do whatever the bloody hell you want, really. They never existed, supposedly. I don't know. But with the dinosaur, it's like you have to make the dinosaur appear as though it's a real moving animal, because it was one at one time. Yeah, so what was I saying here? Yeah, from Gertie to O'Brien, Harryhausen to Spielberg series, and even those Chris Pratt things are huge box office smashes, and they're worse than most of the 20th century dinosaur films. They are. They go for longer. Much longer. Land Unknown is over before you know it. Don't even try to argue with me on this. That's what recent Dino Feature 65 got right, in my opinion. By the time of Jurassic World 3, I guess, you can just have random big bulky dinosaurs just crashing into each other, this absolute ocean of digital mess, and a director who hasn't any control over the project. CGI animators who are miserable and want to just do some decent or half-decent work as assigned to them. It's not theirs. Following their instructions, they smile and say they love their job for the behind-the-scenes documentary. That's quite understandable. They don't want to come across as an ungrateful or like they have it harder than the average worker in the world. Because, they don't. It's boring than maybe the average job. Or not even, but, you're not laying bricks, you're not, performing dangerous surgery, there's nothing really depending on, it's not physically demanding, and it's not you have a lot of responsibility animating dinosaurs, sorry guys. I would argue a film like Jurassic World or 2 or 3 or whatever they even are is more cynical than these 50s flicks such as Land Unknown, or certainly the phenomenal Soviet picture Planet of Burr from 62. Any stop-motion oriented dinosaur feature has more love and care involved than anything with the Jurassic World title slapped upon it. Actually, they even make Jurassic Park 2 and 3 look better, comparatively, with hindsight. Hopeless. They have these dumb screenplays which don't realise they're dumb. So they're just dumber as a result, really. Everyone except the screenwriter, somehow, thinks the film is rubbish. The director, some Russo brother or de facto adopted symbolic Russo brother, isn't even really directing the film. They just tell the actors what to do, which, I don't think there's much to get with these characters. But hey, that's their prerogative then. Oh, The Lost World. If you're going to watch any silent movie, watch Intolerance, Love Struggle Throughout the Ages, D.W. Griffith's magnificent masterpiece from 1916. Oh, but that's really long. So watch The Gold Rush, Charlie Chaplin's masterpiece, in my opinion. But some people don't like comedy. I don't always like it either, to be fair. So watch something Fritz Lang directed. But some of those are pretty long too. So watch Napoleon, that's long. Watch The Lost World. Then watch any of the silent movies that catch your fancy, you know. This is a masterpiece of human art, the founding father of VFX-oriented Hollywood cinema, possibly, certainly, in a purely genre/fantasy context, i.e. non-historical or war or whatever. You understand. I know around the world there were VFX-heavy shorts, or Ben Christensen's Haxan in 1922, but the commercially oriented VFX extravaganza is downstream, as we know it, is downstream of course, as everyone might guess, King Kong. But actually, it was 1925's The Lost World, prior to that event. Few dinosaur films are better than this one, in my opinion, and as much as I love The Lost World, this really shouldn't be the case. Stop trying to impress anyone except yourselves with your dino movies. Forget the critics, cut the human drama, don't worry about a modern audience's sensibilities, a, now certainly, dated action sequence with too many cuts or abundant shaky cam. Be careful with hopping aboard cinematographic trends unless you are utterly sure the film's best realization requires that particular artistic touch. The amount of 21st century action films that are already dated from too much shaky cam and too much quick cutting, it's insane. Like, it's just a complete waste of everyone's time except the year it came out, and even then just like, 17 to 20-year-olds pretty much who just weren't even paying attention to the fucking film anyway. Michael Bay's, Roland Emmerich's, or Zack Snyder's garbage. And it is garbage. What have we got here? A magnificent achievement. Modern culture and everything we might take for granted is downstream from a successful adaptation of Conan Doyle's The Lost World, upping the ante with an Apatosaurus, Brontosaurus then, rather than the novel's pterodactyl, and composing perhaps the definitive Hollywood fantasy feature of the 1920s. Name competitors if you like. I assume I may be forgetting something here. Look at this. What an utter blessing.